Well, hello everybody. Happy Saturday to you. I think I said I'd get back to you the following week, but I had some time on Saturday to work on the show a bit, and I was given some great tips from the forum on different tools to use for cleaning up GIF images, replacing the backgrounds, all sorts of cool things. So I want to get to three of these tools. We talked about Piskel, which is one that I use, but I wanted to share another one that was a very cool tip from the Xlite forum, and then actually this one wasn't from there. This was from, I think, Do It Yourself Christmas, and this one is called Chromagic. Now, on this particular image, it doesn't work really well because when I click back here, it's a real simple application that you download, but it gets rid of all of the white. So unless I'm doing something wrong, I just can't use this. Maybe something with solid colors would work fine, and then you save it out. But the one that I really like, it really is a toss-up between two, and I can see myself using both of these. This is the Piskel, which I used before. So again, eyedropper in a black area, use this paint bucket here, select in here, and that gets rid of a lot of it, and then you can kind of clean it up. And this is one of the images, not this one, but the one that's cleaned up is what I put on the Xlite's Facebook files section for shares. And then this other application was kind of cool. The only thing I don't like about this, it is web-based, but I can't really get in here and really see what's going on. I wish it filled up more of the screen, but that's okay. What I like about this application is you click on Wizards, and there's a transparency button here, that diamond shape. And this allows me to use a fuzz factor. So I can say, you know what, I want zero tolerance, wipe out everything, flood fill, and just get rid of it. And when I click here, I got an error. That's interesting. That hasn't happened before. Let's see what happens. Let's do this. Okay. I see what's going on here. So it wants me to upload the file again. So let's do this. Browse, upload. Let's go find my Rockin' Santa. That's not the original. Well, we can use that. And we hit upload. Maybe it was just sitting there too long. And so I'll go to my wizards, transparency, select this, and voila. But it still got rid of the beard, so I don't like that. Let's try one more image. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt that it's a really cool application. So I'm gonna go over here and let's just look at a JPEG and see how well it does. I'm gonna upload this. And I'm gonna go to my wizard, transparency, and I'm gonna click in here. And then I'm gonna click over here. And then up here. From what I can tell, that's pretty clean. So what I would do is check out this onlineimageeditor.com. There's a hash between the online and image. So I would check this out and have this as a tool, and also have Piskel as a tool, because I really like this for fixing some of the GIFs. I also like the way this resizes. So there you are, a couple tools that I really like, 3 that you can check out in total. Let's get back to the show. So I worked on some things this morning, and I added and I changed. I told you guys I wasn't happy with the Christmas tree with the drum thing, so I changed it. So let's take a look. All right, really? You're going to do this? There we go. Much better.
red suit and a beard so white, flies around the world in a single night, going everywhere. 100 million miles to go, through the rain and winter snow. And how he does it, I don't know, going everywhere.
All right, so now we're up to 1 minute 11 seconds. This next section is where the guitar intro solo is going to be, and it kind of speeds up as it goes. It's a famous riff by Journey, and I'll be working on that next. So you saw a lot of The Matrix that time, and I thought, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we give the Christmas tree its due, and we'll go back to the beginning, and you can check out some of the new effects on the Mega Tree. Here we go.
suit and a beard so white, flies around the world in a single night, going everywhere. 100 million miles to go, through the rain and winter snow. And how he does it, I don't know, going everywhere.
All right. So let's go take a look at some of this new section that I put in here. And if we go over here and let's just look at this mega tree. I took the drums out. I just wasn't happy with it, and it wasn't really going with the theme. So I said, let's put a Santa on the mega tree. Let's make him move to the music. We'll keep that cool effect up at the top, but let's put some movement in it. So, I still have my fire. I still have the spirals going. I still have this effect, which is the, actually I changed it from butterfly to plasma and chose, let me scoot this up just a little bit so we can see these settings. And chose normal with these colors, and you can see the settings here. Nothing super fantastic, but on top of it, I did put at the very top up here, this is a morph that's simply going to shoot down from the top, and it's just choosing these colors: blue, red, white, blue, black. Sometimes when you double or triple up on the colors, especially between lightness and darkness, you can get these cool shadow effects that separate the colors and really create some interesting runs. So I would play with using doubling up of colors. All right. If we go up here, I think we've seen this. That's just my spinner spinning. Let's go over here to the right. We have a lot going on here in this section as it pertains to the mega tree. So I was playing with this, and I was trying to find something that would look interesting, and the first thing I found was this VU meter I put on the tree. So if you see these solid lines that are going all the way down and they're spinning in a circle, I told it to use timing event spike 28 bars because I have 28 strings that will be on there. I told it to use the note onset. So it's going to use the note onset for the timing. So in this section, it's looking at the notes between here where I'm running this, and that's what it's going to base its decision on, the notes, where they split up. Let me turn that back off. And then the rest of this down here, I left alone. This vertical offset's a neat thing. So if you're ever using this tool and you're going to use something like on or pulse, and you've got things kind of happening all over and it's happening too far on the left side or too far on the right, you can use the vertical offset and scoot it to the left or scoot it to the right so that you can get your effect to be centered if that's what you'd like it to do. Okay, so that's the mega tree there with just that first section with the, whoops, let me get down here to the VU meter. And there we are right there. Above that, I put it on a spiral and I chose these 4 colors. All right. And I told it to choose average. Now let's go back to this VU meter. That's on normal. Most of the time, everything that's on the bottom layer is going to be normal for me. Maybe I'll change that up later. But the second one becomes average, and you'll see here the settings I chose on this: spiral wraps 11.2, thickness 23, movement negative 14.1. And if you look at the one on top, it's another spiral, and I think I kept the same colors, but I changed the numbers. So instead of it being negative 14.1 for the movement, I made it 14.1. Instead of it being 11.2 on the spiral wraps, I made that negative 14.7. Instead of the thickness being 23, I made it 9. And the palette rep's the same. And it gave me this effect. Now, why it looks kind of milky like this, I really like this kind of look. I can't wait to see it on the real tree, is because I'm using a bunch of blur. My blur setting is on 8. On the next setting, it's on 8. And then on the bottom effect for the VU, that's set on 1 for blurs. There's nothing on there. I also added in the ho, 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 like I told you I would. I think it looks okay. I wish it looked a little bit better. Maybe I'll find a different font that I like, but there's not a ton of room when you're dealing with 28 strings wide, but I think it works okay. And then over here is the ho ho ho, and again in this section I'm telling it where I want it to go. I started it a little bit higher up so it wasn't on the bottom so people could see it. And I also, if you look at where I'm putting it, negative 36, then I'm going to bring it up to negative 19, and then the top one's going to be at 0. So each time it's ho, 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 it scoots up the tree. Let's go over here and look at my tree topper. This was a lot of fun to do. On this bottom section, it's only managing what's happening on the outside. So I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted 2 effects. I wanted to do some layering. So I have this going on, and this is simply just using the fan effect. That's this guy here, and these are my settings that I'm using for it. I told the blades to have 5 because there are 5 points on the star, and maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. And I told it to blend the edges. And the duration set to 80, no acceleration. And here are the width settings, the elements, the width of that, and of course the position. It should be just centered, and the revs. And that's the effect it has through that section of the song. If we look at the effect I put on top, that is a galaxy effect, which is really cool for making those swirling circles that might start in the center or the outside. And you can start with it really thin and get really thick. It looks kind of cool on matrices, but I put that on here and it seems to look pretty cool. I'm going to play this section here so you can see it now that we have the star there. Here we go. I might want to have that start cutting off a little bit sooner. So that was that. on the house, nothing new there. And then when I get over to this section here, I start changing some things up. I've got this animation going on here, which is a Santa riding a reindeer. The reindeer doesn't look really happy. It talks about Santa being kind of chunky, so I thought it was just funny, and then I added some snowflakes on top of it. And if we look at what's going on with the eaves, where's my eaves? Looking for my eaves. Oh, there they are. You'll see here, I put these guys up here, and instead of doing the whole house, I did them one section at a time. I kept the timing the same for the eaves and for the verticals. Again, remember, as I said in part 3, sometimes it's better to add effects to the individual components of a prop or a group, individual props that might make up a group. So just take care and watch what you're doing, because sometimes an overall effect on the entire group may not have the desired results you're looking for. You'll also see I've got some things going on with my floods. I created a floods all, which was fun. And this was just when there's a big little punch, I just have this coming on.
Just a chubby guy.
And it's just to give it an accent. That's really all that's for. On my garage, I think this is the same thing. We've been in that section. Then I changed the image, kept the image. Actually, you'll see here, I cut the image in half because for me to get the speed that I wanted, which is really controlled from the frame rate over here, and we look over here, if I had left this one continuous line through the length of that section, it would be going about half as fast, and it just didn't look right. So it's okay to cut them in half, and then I put my fade out on this section, which is probably a 5. So it's going to fade out. As you see, there's a long fade out, and then it goes into the chasing scene. You've got the reindeer with Santa being pulled, and then I added snow to the entire house. And I said, well, that's cool. We could do that everywhere, but let's break it up. Let's put some things on the ground that look interesting, because, you know, he's flying over the ground. I didn't want snow to go all the way to the curb, so I added in some effects here with the arches. And I was able to do this with arches all and get the desired effect I want. And that was simply telling it single line. I chose these kind of muted colors, a deep blue, but these are kind of subdued back. And I use skips. So the band size, skip size, starting position, which is typically 1. I told it to go left, and number advances at 100 to keep it kind of moving. And then that takes us to our mini trees. And here's another example of a layered effect that wouldn't work on mini trees all. So I had to put it on each. And I started with my, I guess they call this the tree effect, with 3 branches. And then below that, I have a spiral effect. And the tree effect is 2 reveals 1. So you're seeing I'm doing that kind of here and there with that 2 reveals 1. And that gave me this cool little effect. So I kind of like the way that looks. I have it blurred again. Both effects are blurred because I don't want the attention to just shift here and not let you see what's going on here. So it's all about balance, controlling that contrast. Now, I did make my mega tree over here a little more exciting, and the way I look at this is Santa's on a sleigh. He's going across the sky in a storm, and basically I'm making this tree sort of the beacon. This is where he's trying to go. He's trying to get the gifts to the trees. And I know you're like, Ron, dude, cheese is lit off the cracker. You're just going way too deep with this. Calm down. All right, I get it. I know. But all I did was use the same effect that I had on the arches. I put it over here, changed up a few things. It's still single line. I'm using blur on here. But then I said, well, let's take it up a notch and let's add in some spiral effects. And then let's add in another spiral effect. And this one, sole purpose of this spiral effect is to create the black between the blue. all I'm doing is creating space. And I told it to make it thick enough to do that. So this is at 39, right? Well, if I want less space, I'll bring the thickness down to 5. And it kind of changes it a lot, right? So let's go back to 36. Oop. There we go. And if I wanted to make it thicker, I go over here. Let's go to 53. And if I want to go extreme, let's go to 80. And now, oh no, I kind of like that. No, I'm not changing it. Let's go back to 36. 36 it is for now. And then I'll change my mind again later. And then the top spiral effect is where we're getting this red line. This is the one that's coming down. So it creates a nice, cool effect. We'll go up here to the tree topper. And here, this was just exploding meteor shower, so to speak. This is the meteors. And I just told it the length 25, count 33. And I just wanted it just kind of muted back, not taking a lot of attention, but having something to do. I have it set on render style layer. So if I change that to single line, you'll see here that, well, that's cool, but that's not what I'm looking for. It's like something you might see with the Dallas Cowboys. So no. Single line per default, per preview. And that's just not doing a lot for me. And then default, this is what it would look like in default mode. And it's okay, but I think what looks best is layer star. And maybe there wasn't a difference. I don't know. And I'm using blur on this as well. And I'm using a really dark and then a kind of a muted, a nice, calm, cool color here for that. All right. And then that takes us to the end. That's kind of it. Now, here at the end, I'm going to kind of circle back to the softwares I was talking about when creating these GIFs. I put a couple of these at the end. And some things you want to look out for when you're cleaning up a GIF. You want to get rid of the back area, the background, and put in either transparent or black. You got to check. You might have artifacts, so you have to really make sure you get that clean. This is actually from Piskel without me doing any touch-up, really, just the bucket. And it ended up giving me some of this over here. And so that will show up in a show. So make sure you're looking for that. Here's something that is from the OIE, that other application I told you about. That's what we call the free online image editor, this guy here. So on this one, what's interesting about this is it looks a bit brighter to me. It snaps a little bit more, and maybe this is something I'll play with, and maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. But it also had an artifact up here because it missed something, so you have to make sure you clean it up. And then the final one, this is the one that I originally used that I cleaned up. I still like this because it looks cleaner. It looks a little subdued, almost like it's out of focus. But until I see that on the matrix, I don't think I'll change that for now. And again, this is the image that I shared out in the X-Lights Facebook share site on the files location. And that's it. We're at 23 minutes. We seem to be taking longer and longer each time we do this. I will not make any more promises to keep these shorter because as we go, there seems to be more to talk about, and the feedback I've received from you folks, and I really appreciate that, is, keep doing what I'm doing and share the stuff. You can always fast forward or skip or just delete if you have to. But anyway, have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up with you later. See ya.